Corteiz grew to 1.4 million followers.
Hey, Coop. American pit, fell for the money, I married the bitch. I know she faithful, I cherish the bitch. These niggas scheming for cherish the pit. These niggas watching the pup. I doubled out there, eat this. I double my profit and bury the chips. Double your offer, you scared I'm a deal. I ride with 2 Glocks in the wheel. This shit get bloody like.
How did the brand Corteiz, whatever, you know the brand, build their 1.4 million following on Instagram? We're gonna be breaking down that in today's video. The biggest question I want you to ask yourself is, who does your customer become when they put on your stuff? How can you create content that shows an identity, character, and vibe that your community gonna want to associate themselves with? The most efficient way for me is to look at your own life, the lifestyle you want to have, the lifestyle you have right now, the stuff you want to wear or the stuff you are wearing right now, okay, the music you listen to, right? Look at that, look at yourself as a creative person and create a community around that. And the easiest way is to then look at the stuff you don't want to become, look at the stuff you don't like, create a reversed psychology for yourself and sort of anti-vision that you don't want to, associate yourself with and your brand with. At the end of the day, your brand is an extension of you, and followers don't really matter if you're not constantly connecting with your followers community through pop-ups, online or offline real life events, through posting on a story, through posting content, through engaging in in DMs, actually replying to your full of DMs, replying to comments, right? It's very important you understand who you are not and who you don't want to become. And because of that, I believe that art should come within you first, within me, within your own identity of purpose, within my own narrative. Corteiz made, they made a quick sort of film or like a storytelling with gigs here, and he does music essentially and other stuff as well. But basically the narrative of the story was that he was in jail. He went through a very like sort of criminal lifestyle, and when he puts on their brand on his own like persona, on identity, people gonna want to identify themselves with gigs. They gonna associate the brand with the celebrity or influencer. If you work with celebrities, influencers, that's like how association works. That's why you have models. You want to look like the models, right? We're in fashion. You want to associate into some sort of group of a community, and that's what they did really well with this collab here.
No, that's what I read. Mad stories here.
So he started off the story by putting the clothes on, and while he's saying that, it wasn't probably scripted, it feels very natural. Maybe it was, I don't know, but essentially he talks about how he got robbed essentially, and then got jumped by ops.
There's no beat left, there's no space for him. I think he's even got a version. I swear down. Oh, yeah, remember in here. Remember when I used to get high, boy. You see this whole window, I used to get paranoid.
With the Palestine flag as well, man.
Yeah.
Free Palestine for real, man. That's crazy.
Man.
Come on.
I walked out this block. And I remember I walked out the block, bare feds jumped out, tried to dash the strap, run down there. I had the strap and the extra clip.
I had the strap and the extra clip.
I tried to dash the clip and
Tried to dash the clip and the strap, and
that was it.
straight to jail.
I remember there was some lit party happening in some mansion in Dulwich, yeah. Then I just got this fur coat, some Armani fur coat, you get me?
Yeah.
Put on the coat, I said, yeah, I'm gonna wear this to that party, you know what I'm saying? So I went to the party, and it was like, them times it was Big Brother. Do you remember Big Brother?
Nah, what, the TV show?
The TV show, yeah. And people used to get like famous from Big Brother. That was like Love Island. And then I talking the hardest about that, but I was thinking about that, like, yeah, I need to be heavy, like all these famous people need to know me. I need to be famous. That's when I was actually writing that song, and that's the power of that song. It's mad, like. I remember this used to be kind of loose for me because I started getting famous, but I used to have to walk my dog. So I had to train my dog to walk himself. Like, I swear to God.
What?
I used to like stand here and my dog would run down, go down in the park. That was all grass. And then he'd walk himself. Then I would call him, and then he'd just run back up. I used to remember hearing him coming.
What dog was it?
Rottweiler. That dog was smart, man. And you know when it's real outside and that, that gets creative. But yeah, just in case you never got it, this event Talking the Hardest was created, you get me? In this block right here, get the block.
If you're talking the hardest, beats better pop up in your thoughts as an artist.
Alright, so that was the story. He basically told his own story in a collab with this brand. And when you're watching this as a consumer, you relate to that story somehow, right? Or you really like the vibe of it. You really get pulled into the story. And this what is so powerful about this video. But let's watch the next thing from them, because that's a bit totally different.
London, England, home of the wheelers and dealers.
So the story started
Here's
with,
Harry.
you know, introducing this character.
Known as the infamous Stardog 1998 on Depop. Moved down here about a year ago from an
He's on
estate.
Depop,
It's not
and
the kind
the
of
overall
estate you're
narrative
thinking
is
of.
that he's
This guy just got
reselling,
bumped, fam. We're definitely making.
you know, the brand stuff. And what they're doing here is that they're talking about who their customer is not. So it's a sort of reversed content psychology, right? You'll see it in a bit.
out of the hood.
He only uses this old piece of shit for Depop and Pornhub. Typical scumbag behaviour.
Typical scumbag behavior. So they're, you know, putting this wrong identity on this character and then showing, you know, the community, you know, who their community is not or shouldn't be.
Right on time.
And then someone knocks. Very tensioned, you know, music build up, you know. There's a dolly zoom coming into the door, essentially, you know, cuts throughout that, you know, the tension of the music.
Oh no. It seems like soppy little Harry's got himself into a bit.
Hey, who's this, you know? And then right away you see, you know, basically the brand, you know, how they're wearing the
pickle.
stuff. Oh, hey, I see you selling, you know, our shit on Depop.
Star Dog 1998.
Here we go.
They kick the door, start stealing all the stuff. So, you know, basically they gatekeeping their stuff. Essentially, they don't want, you know, their community to be reselling it. It's also made in a very entertaining, you know, way. It's not like really like, and the music goes very well into it, and the way they act, the way, you know, the slow-mo and all that stuff, the way, you know, the talents, the actors, you know, actually do the stuff. It doesn't feel like a tense cinematic crazy robbery, but it's in a more entertaining way. And imagine if they would use a totally different music here. It would start to feel totally different.
Yo, boss, could I get some Rizla, please?
Moral of the story, don't be an Harry. Don't get your front door booted in. Corteiz rules the
Corteiz.
fucking world.
I can't pronounce that. So what's there for you to learn here? Start creating high quality content and high quality storytelling. It's just not about high quality products nowadays anymore. Anyone, and if you really take the time to do so, of course, you can find a good manufacturer in case you're not, you know, sewing by yourself, or, you know, having like a screen print or whatever printing that you're doing yourself. Anyone can find a good manufacturer, you know, that can do your crazy wash details, you know, dope cut and sew techniques, and your overall garment can have a high GSM, it's really not that hard to start a brand in terms of product nowadays. What's hard is to give a brand an identity that people resonates with. So it's a brand and character association. What is the character of your brand? How does the character look like? What do they do? What do they listen to? What do they believe? What do they value? Or if you're shooting a lookbook with specific models, what kind of vibe, what kind of character are you trying to manifest here? What kind of vibe are you trying to tell through your head, through your creative feeling? What kind of vibe does it look like really in real life? This is you most of the time, okay? Because the stuff that comes from within you, I feel like it's you, and when you put it somewhere else, it just becomes an extension, but it's still you. And that's how I personally perceive this. It comes from you first. Doing stuff outside of you is a second thing. Start within. Who or what do you want your community to associate themselves with? The more consistently you can associate your brand with that thing, the stronger your brand identity becomes. If you can apply that throughout all of your content, pictures, videos, illustrations, graphic designs, typography, the way you speak to your community on your stories, the more you can apply that throughout all of your content with a brand cohesiveness throughout all of that content aspect, the stronger your identity becomes. Maybe consider which other industry your fashion brand connects with. Is it music? Is it sports? Is it other creative industry? Or not even a creative industry? Is it, a workwear type shit like Carhartt? Whatever it is, you need to find that. And the easiest way, again, is to start within. You already know this. People buy with emotions and justify with logic. The more they can relate to the emotion your brand is showing, the more they are likely to join the community, then become a super fan, and then ultimately buy. Consumers rationalize a lot. They associate your brand with who is wearing it and how big of an identity that person or the vibe that you're showing is showing. So you gotta find your fucking vibe. And me personally, as an artist, I shoot some films, take pictures for brands, stuff like that. I don't want to talk about it. Like, you can take a look at our work. But the best way to do is to find your own personal vibe. And that's what I'm saying this whole fucking time. It's to find your own vibe within yourself first. Being aware of the fact that your brand is you sets you apart, because you're the only one in this world. At the end of the day, it all comes down to how much are you able to art direct your brand and bring people together to like your vibe, energy, and how can it even transform those people's lives, aka your community. How can you inspire them? How can you make your brand aspirational? You need to understand that most consumers need to have a sense of belonging somewhere. And if your brand feels like it's in between, they won't join the wave because it's confusing for them. They don't know what the fuck is the wave about, so they're not gonna ride it. The flow is just not flowing. So what value are you bringing to the culture with your brand? What does your audience identify themselves with in that culture? For example, let's talk about a totally different industry. Fitness, right? Fitness, the value exchange between gym or fitness and the consumer is, for example, fat to skinny. Like, it's corny for me to say like this, but fundamentally any company, any store, any brand out there is bringing a customer from point A to point B. And this is gonna sound corny, but if you're hungry right now, you're probably gonna need groceries and you buy them, and that's how the brand, the store, the grocery store brought you from point A to point B. And if I was honest, you don't really need to know about all of this stuff when you are a real true creative, because all you know is how to create stuff. You know what aesthetics are, what feels good and what doesn't, and so on. You're a true artist. But okay, let's take a step back. If you came into this economy, into this industry as an entrepreneur first, that wants to just make a buck, then you need to truly understand the other side of things. You're in a creative market that requires creative thinking, creative repetition, and creative growth. You're selling a brand identity so the people can become your audience and associate themselves to your stuff and then buy your stuff and eventually become a more loyal community. There are brands out there like Nike that pushes just do it sort of stuff, like self-discipline, self-affirmations, positive stuff in terms of like mental health, and they sort of take that philosophy, psychology, self-development, you know, all that discipline stuff, and they apply it with their brand. The question is, you need to know what brand do you want to have? What transformation do you want to have when you wear your own stuff? Is it just being cool? So be it. Then fucking cook up cool shit, bro. Don't cook up stuff that are just based off some trends that you saw. Look, brand owners that wants to succeed in this industry do. The brands that count do. The brands that stand out do. The brands that beat their competition, they do. The brands that are most creative, they are. You need to make your brand addictive if you want to be a legacy brand. You need to understand that besides just designing and directing your own clothes, you need to wear all these hats. You're also a content creator and all of the other stuff. If you want to be in the top 1%, you need to be able to become the art director, the brand director, the creator for your own brand. And that's how you stand out. It's being able to apply that identity of multi-stacked skills of yours to create a physical manifestation of your skills, like, you know, content, reels, TikToks, shooting lookbooks, shooting films, creative ad campaigns, email designs, unique pictures for your feed, unique story posts that are only associated with your brand Instagram. This is exactly why your community is gonna fucking come back to the taste that only you can serve. Only your restaurant can serve, because you got the sauce. It's like there's a reason why you listen to rappers like Future, Travis Scott, Kanye, whoever it is. Make your brand in a way of music that people gonna want to listen to every day. Top brands, top creators, top creatives craft experiences, not just content and not just clothes. They deliver value in a form of vibes. Don't just post just to post, to just get views, to just make a sale, to just sell out your job. Post to show people a world they haven't experienced yet. Make it in a way that your community gonna wait and want to add your shit into their morning routines. That's how addictive you need to want to make this shit. You're a fucking drug dealer, dopamine dealer in a sense. And if all you do is copy a design you just saw, copy the content you just saw, copy the, I call it POV hook that you just saw from someone else, and you don't add your own thing to it, then how do you think you can stand out? You just copied something. The surface level efforts deserve shallow rewards. Everyone is going in this direction, this brand is doing this, and this brand is doing another thing. So where is the void, and how can you fill that gap with your own way of creating things? Find it. A lot of top creators start offline, because if the only thing you're doing is like consume of social media, you'll soon enough get overwhelmed. Heck, maybe that's why you're even watching this video, right? A lot of great creative ideas to me personally came naturally. It sounds cliche, but like living life, reading a book in fucking nature, doing all that human stuff. When I was just like sitting in nature, sitting in my room with no music, letting my thoughts to go free, just observing them, not overthink them, I caught on to the best ideas. It sounds simple, but try it. That's when I was able to cook up the most creative idea. It wasn't by my force, it was from the force of nature. Though brands are wise and they are able to challenge a narrative, right? They can come up with unique designs, with unique content that goes against all the rules and what's going on currently in the market. Just because they see a market and they sort of take this path. I don't give a shit about this. Let me do my shit. They aren't scared to do something that doesn't exist in the market yet. They are not only learning to, you know, what's currently working and what's trending right now. They're learning from themselves. By challenging the market, I don't mean it in a way of rebellion against everything and everyone, because that would be stupid, you know, to go against an, you know, actual fact, but more of be okay with all this stuff and trust your own creative gut instincts with challenging what's going on in the industry. Be bold, make predictions on where the fashion styles and designs is going, how is it evolving, how the content around fashion is developing, how other industries are affecting fashion brands themselves. Have the courage of going somewhere no one else explored deeply yet. So with your content and with your brand, if you can educate, entertain, and inspire at the same time, and make people identify with all of those points, congrats, you've successfully made a brand identity. The top 1% brands will be dedicated to their craft in 2025, and they will enjoy the process because of the process, not because they want to make 10k per month. Create what you want to see in the world, and the audience comes after. Like Rick Rubin said, consumers don't know what they don't know. They don't see what's within you, so show them. The top creative people are driven by full curiosity, excitement, and actual passion for their craft. And it will totally beat those who only rely on self-discipline and routines. Okay, pause. If you are a robotic person, then it might work, but honestly, it's not for me. I just don't like being driven by just discipline and routines without a purpose. If you don't wake up every day genuinely wanting to do your shit, then maybe it's time to switch to something else. You need to be obsessed with your shit. I think that if I wasn't really obsessed with my stuff, curious enough, and be open to like vulnerability, I wouldn't be able to constantly find and evolve my own creative voice. Marketing is asking your crush on a date. Branding is why she should say yes. Branding just basically means familiarity, and we cannot be confusing ourselves and the audience by posting totally different stuff every time. Because I had this one call with one of our clients, and he asked me that he wants to mix this skate culture, you know, and basically creating like a post with like a community of skaters, but his brand is very, you know, similar to what Corteiz is basically posting. And I was like, if you find a creative idea around like skating and this criminal, whatever you want to call it, culture, mix it. But you can't just, you know, tell your brand that, hey, just skating, and hey, just criminal stuff. You can't be separating those two. You need to be able to be creative enough to mix both of them together.
That I want everything to kind of align and look together. So the music has to match the outfit has to match the lifestyle. I'm aesthetic driven.
Peace out.